Here we have my old M&M stand, and it doesn't work very well anymore. But Dave and Steve are making brand new stands for our upcoming game day. And so I'm just going to give you a little primer here on these stands and how they work, so that when you watch the video, there's a few things that you need to know. First of all, there's a vertical stick that goes up 6 feet. And then you have your inch marks on there, and then also a colored stripe at every 10-inch mark. So this is how you keep track of the altitude of the airplane. And then also, because of this right here, you just can move it, or you can use a clothespin or whatever to raise your altitude or lower your altitude. So you'll hear Steve talking about the sticks that he's building. And the nice thing about this game is that you can show also your bank angle inverted, and then you can also show nose up and nose down, which is important for fighters, not really for bombers like this. To make a stand to play this game, you had to go out and buy tools if you didn't have them, and then materials, which you can see here, and then you would build the stand yourself by these instructions here. And then there's a template, and you can see the turn markings there. And then the clothespin I just mentioned, if you wanted to use that. Mine's a little more upgraded. But yeah, it was a big ordeal. You had to look at some of these materials. You had to get a diver's weight, and then just 32nd piano wire, 16th piano wire, faucet washers, tubing, all kinds of things. So back in the 70s and 80s, well actually Dave and I played this game last probably in the mid 90s, but you really had to be dedicated. And as you can see, there are wheels. These two front ones are fixed. Actually, there's Dave's initials on this one. And then you see the diver's weight there, which keeps it from toppling over. So in Steve's video, you're going to hear him talk about putting these markings on the stand. This is actually the target box. So the closest scale for this game is really 1/700th aircraft, or we're using the 1/144th just to represent the aircraft on the stand. But this target box moves, all the way up to whatever altitude you are on the stand. This box would be up there, but to make it easier, keep it on the ground, and you target to see if you're directly behind. You see the zeros, you have no penalty, and as your deflection increases, it gets harder and harder to hit this target, this moving target. So you'll see that, and then you'll also see this back here. This is how you control your turn rate. If you have a soft turn like A, the stand doesn't turn very much at all. It's barely noticeable. Most bombers use an A or a B. But if you have a good fighter that can turn pretty good, and you're out on the E right here, and you'll see the guys calibrating the stand in the garage on the floor by marking it out with a piece of tape. So your turn rate obviously is much increased the farther out you go to each side. Also, you might be wondering about how the aircraft attach the clips. What happens is you glue the tubing, very small tubing, under the tail. I don't know if this will focus, but right under the tail there, and then you carefully put it on there. I don't know if I can take this thing off with one hand, but you can pull the aircraft off. That's pretty much it to get you started, so that you'll understand everything Steve's doing in his video. So please make sure and watch that. We should have it up either later today or tomorrow.